Nobody has done as good a job as you have for this long. That's what Nick Saban told Kirby-Smart before the 2023 SEC Championship game this past weekend. Listen, I know Georgia lost the game, but that's not what this video is about. This video is about Georgia fans still, realizing what's going on right now. They're not going anywhere. Nick Saban knows it. And for him, the greatest college football coach of all time, to tell Kirby-Smart, a guy that worked for him for a long time, hey, no one's doing a better job than you are right now. I know Alabama went on to win the game, and Nick Saban is the GOAT. He's the GOAT of GOATs. He's the Michael Jordan of college football coaching. He's the best. And I think he knows what Kirby-Smart has already accomplished. First of all, he said, hey, man, 29 in a row. No one's doing it like you are right now. It just shows the respect that these two still have. And I think Nick Saban knows that Kirby-Smart will end up being one of the best of all time, right there with him. Of course, if Nick Saban and the Tide win another national championship, I think that would give him 7. So Kirby's got some work to do, but these two programs are right there neck and neck. Alabama has had, the leg up on Georgia, obviously outside of that national championship. But I do think it's important that Georgia fans realize that they're not going anywhere. This program will be back. It's going to be a little tougher next year to run the table just with the tough schedule, conference expansion, and a playoff. Lose, you're done. You're out of there. It's not just getting into the 4. You have to get into the 12 and win. And Georgia's going to be in that 12 for a long, long time. I will say they can't really lose 3 games next year. It's a tough schedule. They will probably lose 1, maybe 2 games next year during the regular season, but they're going to be in the running. And there's going to be chances where they host playoff games, chances where they, get that bye in the first round and are set up nicely in the playoff if they continue to be an elite team like they are. Kirby has obviously learned a lot from Nick Saban and the Tide, and he's a big reason why Alabama has all those national championships over the last 15, 20 years, right? When you write the story of Alabama football and their dominance and the dynasty that they've had in the past, recent past. You can't write that story without writing about Kirby-Smart and the impact and the job he did. And he's built Georgia the same way. Kirby's not going to just have 2 national titles at Georgia. He's going to win more. That is my guess. Everything's a guess right now. We don't know what the future holds. But I would probably, if I were putting money on Georgia winning another national championship under Kirby-Smart, I think most people would. I would too. But it was good to see. He actually, Nick told Kirby this. I think it was during one of the SEC shows on SEC Network, SEC Inside, something like that. And these two guys are still friends. They're former longtime co-workers. They're competitors now. They recruit against each other. They coach against each other. And Nick has the leg up for sure. But he knows how good Kirby-Smart is and what he's building at Georgia. And it's clear that these two are still friends. In fact, Nick even said this, you're right about one thing, talking to Kirby, I'm too old for this. And this leads me to my next question. If you're a Georgia fan, I probably should have mentioned this earlier in the video, but if you're a Georgia fan, which most of you are watching, would you trade another Alabama national championship this year if that meant Nick Saban were to retire right after the game? Would you accept that? Would you say, okay, Alabama, get your 13th, 15th, 20th, 50th, whatever they claim over there, get another one if it means Nick Saban retires, walks off in Alabama? It doesn't have to necessarily start all over, but I do think there might be a significant drop from Nick Saban to whoever is lined up. Dabo's not the guy at Alabama. Maybe Dan Lanning is. Maybe Glenn Schumann. Maybe Steve Sarkisian. Who knows? I don't think whoever it is a better coach than Nick Saban right now, though. And Nick Saban's like 72 years old. So they'll get a great coach in there, but I don't know if they're going to be running like this every single year where they're the team to beat. Georgia was the last year for sure as reigning national champions, and they won it. And, this season proves how hard it is to go back to back, but, a three-peat. That's why we haven't seen it, I guess, since the Lakers in the late 2000s or early 2000s, But I thought it was a very cool reaction. Nick Saban giving Kirby his props, saying, hey, I've been here for a long time. I know I'm the GOAT. I know I'm the best, but no one's doing it better than you right now. And, these might still be the 2 best teams in college football. I still think you can make the case. I'm excited to watch that Alabama-Michigan game. I know a lot of Georgia fans are just turned the TV off the second they lost. They don't care about college football anymore. Hopefully you're still, tuning into our content because we really appreciate it. But I think, you know, Nick praising Kirby like that when they know the cameras are there too. It shows you where they are as a program. This might not be the last time we see Kirby and Nick Saban go at it, but you have to wonder. Nick Saban looks great for 72. It doesn't look like he's going anywhere anytime soon, but the best way to retire is coming off a championship. So if Nick Saban, he has the ability to ride off into the sunset and be the clear number one with a big gap over Bear Bryant, in my opinion, for best college football coach of all time. If that happens and he retires, it's going to be tough to beat him, even for a guy like Kirby Smart, who will win at least one, probably two more, right? Is that crazy to say? I don't think so. Georgia's going to be very good for a long time. This is the middle, I guess, or maybe it's the beginning of this long stretch of dominant Georgia Bulldog football play. They've been very good, a top 10 team, since 2017, right? They've been very, very good and so tough to beat every year for the past 7 years. That's not going away. Now, Georgia might lose to Alabama again. They're going to be playing a decent amount. But that doesn't mean this program's on the downward, right? They got to get a quarterback in. They really need Carson Beck back, the more I think about it, because that's such a tough schedule. You're already replacing a lot of guys on offense and replacing the quarterback with the backup transfer already declared and, in the portal and out of the portal at Kentucky. Yeah, you're going to be in a tough quarterback position if Carson Beck leaves. I think he's going to stay, and that's what Georgia needs. But one thing is that they're going to be very, very good on both sides of the ball. Every position is filled with either a five-star or a big-time transfer coming in. Kirby Smart knows how to run a program. Nick Saban knows it. And Nick Saban's been running his for a long time, thanks to Kirby Smart. So I'm not sure Kirby will ever pass Nick, right? But it's clear when you watch them that the amount of respect they have for each other is still incredible. I think they said they don't really talk a ton during the season, but when they are, meet up face to face, you can see them kind of go back to their days at Alabama. They're cutting it up a little bit, and they do have a tremendous amount of respect for each other. And I bet if you ask Nick Saban who the best coach in college football is, he would say Nick Saban right after himself, right? And I think Kirby would tell everyone still correctly that Nick Saban is the best coach in college football history, at least. And if he wins a national title, I think as far as current best college football coach, Nick would probably, get that leg up over Kirby as far as current best. He's the all-time best. I think if Kirby were to come even close to him, it would be some special years ahead for the Dogs. Kirby's in his 40s? 40s? Has to be, right? He played in the mid-90s. I have no idea how old he is. I don't know how long he's going to be at Georgia, but 15, 20 years, I think that would be ideal if you're a Georgia fan and you have Kirby Smart for 20 more years. That's about as good as you could ask, but it is such a grind. And, with recruiting 12 months out of the year, basically, and recruiting your own guys to stay, recruiting guys out of the portal, visiting these high school kids, finishing up the recruiting class. There's so much going on, especially this time of the year. And if you're a college football coach and you just finish up the regular season, the last thing you want to do is to be on the road in December. There's very little downtime for these coaches, and not all of them can be in a position like Nick Saban is, where it's a lot of delegating. He comes in and, does his thing, but you can only be on the road so much at his age, where, Kirby and his staff, they work as hard as anyone, and it's showing on the field. And again, Nick Saban knows that. He knows the work ethic that Kirby has and the work ethic that Kirby expects out of his coaches and his staff and his players, and it's showing up on the field. Georgia did not get the best of Alabama this time, but they will beat Alabama in the future. Maybe it's next year, maybe it's in 2 years, maybe it's for another national championship, but we will see this program defeat Alabama again at some point, probably multiple times. Because when Nick Saban leaves, Kirby Smart is the alpha head coach in college football. Maybe Jim Harbaugh can have a say in that if he can finally get over that hump and bring Michigan their first national championship in 25, almost 30 years, 25 years, then he would have a say there. But I think before the game, the two best college football coaches, had a good laugh. Nick Saban telling Kirby, no one's done as good a job as you. You're right about one thing. I'm too old for this. Maybe Nick Saban retires. Maybe he doesn't. That's another question for another video, but really appreciate y'all watching this one. The regular season's over. Orange Bowl is whatever, but we really appreciate y'all continuing to watch our content. We want to see you over on Dawg Post. You can sign up to our free newsletter. That link is down below. You can read all the stories we've got over there. A lot of them are free. It's free to sign up to the newsletter, free to read the stories. We would love y'all to go check us out over on Dawg Post. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you over on the website.